Hello, movie lovers. Yeah, you're with Bob here in Toronto. He's here to talk to you about the movies he watched this week. So, let's discuss it. Get the old book out. Let's see. Write them down so you remember most of it. Right in. I don't know if mine's going to be 20 minutes or not. It might be. Alright, the first one I watched was Fargo. Yeah, 1996, Fargo. Everybody knows this one. There's a guy at a car dealership, right? He wants to get his wife kidnapped, and he's paying money to get her kidnapped because he's looking for some money because I think he owes money to somebody or something like that. That's hilarious. And Frances, what's her name? Frances McDormand. Yeah, she's a cop in it. It's hilarious. I give it a 9 out of 10. Right? So yeah. I just watched it. I think this was the first movie I watched this week, but yeah, I've seen it before numerous times. It's the kind of movie you can watch again and again. So let's put that down.
You don't know what's out there.
And the other movie I watched was Beau, Geste, 1939. Story about three brothers who joined the Foreign Legion. Yes, Gary Cooper, Ray Milland, and Robert Preston. It's a remake of the 1926 silent film. Three devoted brothers joined the Foreign Legion. Presumably, one of them has stolen a diamond their mother has. So one left, and the other two followed. They all ended up in the Foreign Legion. Now, did he steal the diamond? Who knows? You're going to have to watch the movie to find out what the diamond has to do with the three brothers. Right? Alright. Beau, Geste, what did I give it? Oh, you know what? I didn't even mark down how much I gave it. Oh, what am I going to give Beau, Geste? We'll give it a 7. It's a very good story. It's a very, very well done story. 1939, eh? Yes, remember 1939. A good year for movies. And what else did I watch? Well, I watched this one. My Five Wives. Rodney Dangerfield. I call him Rodney Dangerous. But yeah, he has 5 wives in this movie, right? Can't really tell you too much about it, but yeah, he's a rich guy. He buys property. He wants to buy property to make a ski lodge, ski lift, right? So he goes out to this community, right? He joins the community, right? And everybody in the community, all the men, mostly have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 wives. But anyway, he ends up with 5 wives. It's hilarious. What did I give this one? I gave it a 7. It's a worthwhile watching. You'll laugh your head off. What else? Alright, watch this one. Bandits, right? Bandits from 2001. My 5 Wives was 2000. This is, in my 5 Wives, did I say I gave it a 7? I gave it a 7. This is Bandits. Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, right? And Kate Blanchett. 2 guys, right? They escaped from, from prison, right? Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton. They turn out to be bank robbers. They do a pretty good job at it, being bank robbers. And then they meet up with Kate Blanchett, right? So there's 2 of them, right? These 2 and Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett's a little bit off a bit, right? She's off a bit. She ends up robbing banks with these 2 guys, right? So it's a fun movie. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen Bandits, watch it. It gets a 7. 7 out of a 10. Yeah, 7 out of a 10. Bandits. One of Bruce Willis, one of his, well, I wouldn't say Bruce Willis makes bad movies, but the last few years he pops up in movies here and there and makes an appearance, like he mails it in, right, and picks up a check. But that was the last few years. But okay, so what else? Oh yeah, I watched American Outlaw. Right here, American Outlaw from 2001. Colin Farrell and Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates is in it for a while, right? She's Jesse James's mother, right? And Frank James. She plays the part of their mother. It's a story about Jesse James. I don't know, you know, there's lots of movies out there about Jesse James, right? All kinds of movies, right? Henry, I think when Jesse James, yeah, I forget now who played Jesse James over the years, but a lot of actors did. But yeah, this one's a far-fetched version of Jesse James, because he's really good with his guns, right? Yeah. But anyway, it's a story. Story-wise, Jesse James, it's all right. It's nothing wrong with it. I gave it a 7. American Outlaw, yeah, 2001. Jesse James, a little far-fetched, but what are you gonna do? Right? Well, what's gonna happen?
Have you no sense at all?
All right, what else? Oh yeah, TCM. This is TCM. I watched The Roaring Twenties, 1939. Right, and the soldiers who fought together in World War I tried their hands at making a living as bootleggers during the Prohibition era. James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart, right? Most of you's probably seen this movie, right? James Cagney. Yeah, James Cagney can't get a job, right? So he ends up selling booze, right, to everybody, and he, you know, selling booze to all the racketeers and people that owns clubs, you know, dance clubs, places like that, places that are not supposed to be open. He ends up doing that. And then, you know, the movie goes to the point where the prohibition is over with, right? And, you know, now you're allowed to buy booze and all that stuff. So he loses everything. Now he's stuck being he has one cab left. Humphrey Bogart left him a cab. And one of his friends that was a lawyer, is still a lawyer, right? Humphrey Bogart wants to kill him, right? But James Cagney does not want that to happen. So James Cagney goes to Humphrey Bogart, asks very nicely, please, right? Don't kill that guy, don't kill him. He's got a wife and he's got a kid. Humphrey Bogart, well, what happens at the end of the movie, you're going to have to watch it and see what happens. James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart, right? Yeah, The Roaring Twenties. Great movie. I watch it over and over again. A movie that you can watch it. I can watch it. Well, I don't know if I can watch it next week, but, you know, I'd give it another watch, another, you know, few months. I don't know how many times I've seen this movie. I even own the movie. It's over there in the closet. But this was on TCM, so I watched it. What else? Oh, yeah, TCM. I watched another movie on TCM from, this one's 1931. One of those early movies, right? 1931. It's called The Secret Six. An organization of citizens sets out the thwart. I don't know how to say that word, but anyway, they try to stop powerful underworld leaders, right? These underworld leaders, they kill people, right? So Wallace Berry's in it, and Clark Gable, Louis Stone, you know, the guy from Andy Hardy movies as the dad. Yeah, and Jean Harlow, pretty Jean Harlow, gorgeous blonde. But anyway, it's not a bad movie. It's okay. It gets a 6. Nothing special, just a gangster movie. So gets a 6 out of 10. What else did I watch? Oh yeah, I watched Rising Sun. Ian watched this too. Rising Sun. 93, yeah, Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes. Yeah, Wesley Snipes is a cop. He gets involved in this murder that takes place in this high building, a Japanese firm. And Sean Connery knows everything about the Japanese and stuff, and he knows how to talk Japanese. And there's a murder of a young girl. They find her dead on top of a table. Somebody killed her, and they're both looking to find out who did it. So it's, tell you the truth, it's kind of, story-wise, it's a little mumbled, but because nothing really happens in the movie for a long time. Most of them, they're sitting around talking and chatting and visiting places and drinking a coffee and stuff like that, and nothing really much happens until the last 20 odd minutes of the movie. Gets near the end of the movie, things start to shape up and start happening, stuff like that, right? And they want to find out who killed this girl, right? But yeah, it's slow. It's a little bit on the boring side, so I gave it a 6. Yeah, I wouldn't be watching Rising Sun anytime soon again. If I was going to watch a movie, I'd watch the Roaring Twenties. Yeah, 1939. I'd watch that over Rising Sun. What else? Oh yeah, I watched Guy. What else did I watch? Let's see, what else did I watch? I watched Guys and Dolls. Yeah, Guys and Dolls from 1955. Marlon Brando and Frank Sinatra. It's taken from the Broadway musical. A lot of these movies back then, not so much lately, but years ago, there was a lot of movies that were taken from plays and Broadway and stuff like this. This happens to be one of them. This takes place in in the early 50s. 1955, about gangsters and gambling and stuff like that. And it's a musical. They break out in the songs, when they're walking down the street or they're inside a room or something. They start singing songs and stuff. So, yeah, Frank Sinatra wants to open up a place for gambling, right? For one night, right? Gambling, right? But he's running out of places, and the cops have got all these places kind of like covered. So he's trying to find a place. Then he makes a bet with Marlon Brando's character, right, that he can't have a date, doesn't get a date with the sergeant of the Salvation Army, right, the girl. So the bet's on. So if you like musicals and stuff like that, it's okay, because musicals were big there at one time, for a long time. Musicals were pretty big on the screen. People wouldn't seen them. And as time went by, they kind of went the way of the dodo bird. You don't find too many musicals even today anymore. So this one gets a 6. I give it a 6. I didn't really think Marlon Brando could sing too much, and what Frank Sinatra sang was like ho-ha, and so yeah, I give it a 6. I won't be watching that anytime soon. What else did I watch? Turn the page. Oh, I watched this one, The Strip. Mickey Rooney from 1951, the year I was born. Mickey Rooney was making a movie. He gets hooked up with gangsters. Yeah. Gets out of the army, and he has to find a job. I think he gets out of the army. He gets out of the army. Anyway, he gets hooked up with a gangster, right? So, he's, taking numbers and stuff like that. And then he meets a girl. And then he goes to this club, and, there's a drumming spot opens up, and he says now he's working for this guy. But anyway, he ends up getting a job in a hotel, in the bar, right, as a drummer. Mickey Rooney is a good drummer. He always was when he was a kid. But here he drums a couple of songs that are really good, really good. So this girl he knows wants to be, wants to get into movies. Of course, his gangster buddy, right, starts putting the move on her. Mickey's not too crazy over that, so things start happening, yep. So this one here, yeah, The Strip, Mickey Rooney gets a 7. Pretty good story. Pretty good story. 7 out of a 10. Oh, yeah, okay, and then I watched this one. Blade 2. Yeah, Wesley Snipes. What's he doing now? I don't know if he's been doing anything lately. Has he made any movies lately in the last few years? I don't recall. Anyway, this is Blade 2 from 2002. Yeah, 2002. So, Chris Christopherson's back in it from the first movie, right? He's in it again. And he goes after vampires again. But these vampires are really, really ugly looking sons of bitches, right? And the regular vampires wants him to search for these other vampires, right? So yeah, so he gets hooked up with some vampires that are specially created or made to go hunting, you know, these super duper vampires. But there's lots of action, right? Lots of karate or kung fu or whatever you want to call it. And this Wesley Snipes, you know, doing kicking and jumping around and all that shit, right? So it's a fun movie. I gave it a 7. So yeah, Blade. I don't know, do I have Blade 3, Trinity? I don't know. I don't know if I saw it or I have it. I can't remember. Well, Blade 2, yeah, 2002. 7. Marvel Comics. Yeah, Blade. It's a Marvel comic, yeah, from the comic books. Yeah, this was before Black Panther and all those big time movies. This is Blade. All right, what else did I watch? I watched, where did I put it at now? Oh, Far From Heaven. Yeah. Far From Heaven. Right here, Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore and Dennis Quaid. 2002. It takes place in, let's say 1957, right? Let's say 1957. It's a nice house. There's all these cars from 57. The houses, all 1957 and everything. Anyway, it's about her and her husband, right? I mean, she got a couple of kids or whatever, but it's mostly about her and her husband. Now, her husband has a little secret, right? He's kind of like, he has a secret that nobody knows, right? So, yeah. So she starts seeing, or talking to the gardener, right? He's a black guy, right? And he's all back, and she starts talking to him in. And she sees him once in a while, not to see him, but she's with him. And there's talk around town, right? So, yeah. Strange movie. But things like that happened back in the 50s. You can be guilty of anything people want you to be guilty of, and you didn't do anything. But, you know, just, what's that word? Association? You see somebody with somebody, and everybody starts talking, and next thing you know, you're in a lot of trouble, and you didn't do shit. So, yeah, Far From Heaven. What did I give that? Frig, man, what did I give it? Oh, I gave it a 7, so gave it a 7. It's a pretty good story. If you haven't seen Far From Heaven, interesting story. Yeah, he's got a secret. Yes. Yeah, her husband, Dennis Quaid. Yeah, and like I said, she gets caught talking to the gardener. So yeah, people take things upon themselves. But yeah, it's a lovely story. It's a good story. So if you haven't seen Far From Heaven, right? I mean, nobody gets their head chopped off or machine gunned or knifed or anything. Story-wise, it's pretty good. So yeah, I recommend it. Bob recommends Far From Heaven. So if you haven't seen it, seek it out, watch it. It's a good story. All right, and then I watched on TCM, of course. I watch TCM movies, especially when I've never seen them. But I think I saw this one before, but I'm not 100% sure. Along Came Jones, 1945. Yeah. A shy cowboy, right, who is lousy with guns, pulls his gun out of the holster and it goes flying, right, across the room, or, you know, out of his holster, ends up someplace else, whatever. He's not very good with guns. It's mistaken for a notorious gunslinger, robber. Everybody, he rides into town, and because he's got the same initials as this robber gunslinger, they mistake him, he's mistaken for him, right? So people are really nice to him, and they get out of his way, and they buy him a beer and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's funny. I gave that a 7. So that's mostly, you know, I always say, I keep repeating myself, but it's mostly Reader's Digest version. Try to keep the videos short, and I'm just trying to tell you what I watched this weekend. And on, what was I watching? Oh, yeah. On Netflix, I'm watching Queen's Gambit, about the young girl that plays chess. That's on Netflix, so I've been watching that. So that's okay. I don't mind that at all. I like it. So yeah, and it's snowing a little bit here in Toronto. There's snow out there. It's kind of cold. There's lots of puddles out there. Snow and the water's all over the place, and pigeons are sitting on the roof across the street there in the apartment building. So I want you to all stay safe and be careful, you know, because of this virus shit still going on, and things are opening and things are closing down, and you can't keep up with it, people. But you got to stay safe. So I went out today and I went down to Food Basics, got myself some bananas and blueberries and, you know, a few odds and sods, and I'm good for a few more days. So yeah, I don't go anywhere. So, well, there's nowhere to go really, you know. Even if they open up things, I don't think I'll be going in. If I go anywhere, I might go down to the dollar store one day just to get out. But yeah, no, I don't go anywhere. Stay home, watch the hockey games. I'm watching the Leafs, right? And the Leafs are first overall in the Canadian division, so that's good. So yeah, I've been just watching TV shows. I've been watching the new one, Clarice. I started watching that. Seems all right. So I've been watching that. And The Equalizer, right? The Equalizer, that's a new TV show, so I've been watching that. But anyway, we're rambling on here, so stay safe, people, stay safe, all right? We'll talk to you next Friday with Bob. You're with Bob from the north, yeah, Canada, Toronto, and we'll talk again next Friday about the movies that I watched this week. Peace.